click. So you start down at the parking lot level, but any one of your goals is the top of the first hill. So you just need to start thinking small because we get so overwhelmed by our goals. What's one little step you could take today?
Life doesn't always go the way we planned, but sometimes, even through grief and challenges, we find ways to rise, rebuild, and even laugh again. Today's guest, Steve Gamlin, is known as the motivational firewood guy. For over 20 years, he's been blending humour, visualization, and back to basic positivity to help people not only see their goals, but also feel them, believe in them, and take action towards them. Steve's journey has been filled with highs and lows, from chasing childhood dreams of being a DJ, stand up comedian, and author, to experiencing the heartbreak of losing his wife. Through it all, he's remained committed to kindness and gratitude and helping others create lives that feel authentic and joyful. His work includes keynote speaking, vision board mastery programs, and coaching. But at its heart, it's about one thing: teaching people that no matter where you are right now, you can choose to see a better version of yourself. Steve, welcome to Positive Vibes with Nicki Dennis.
Thank you, Nikki. Very happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation.
So are we, Steve. So to start with, take us back to you as an 11-year-old child, dreaming of being a DJ, comedian, author, and teacher. How does it feel knowing that you've lived all those dreams in some way?
Well, judging by all the dings, the dents, and the scars and the bruises I've gotten over the years, it's actually very rewarding. First off, that I've been able to experience each one of those. I'm also thankful for all the crashes and burns in between each one because they taught me the most about resilience and coming back from
Mm,
it. And if those things didn't happen, oh my gosh, what would I talk about on stage? Because sometimes people look and they go, "Hey, Steve, how do you make up those stories you share on stage?" And I just stare at them like a puppy stares, and I'll tilt my head a little bit with that confused look and go, "Really? Have you not been paying attention over the past, well, at this point, 46 years since I was 11?" I said,
mm,
"Oh my gosh, I live and breathe everything I do. I've crashed and burned, and I've learned so much." And I took a lot of notes along the way. So I'm actually, despite my most recent loss, as you mentioned, of my beautiful wife Tina,
yeah.
I'm grateful for everything that has happened in my life because then I get to turn around and use it to help others.
That's so kind that you can share your experience with others. So you've also said that your Phoenix Rise ride is a pogo stick. Can you share what that means and
Yeah.
how that reflects your journey?
Well, in Hollywood, we see these movies, and
Yeah.
the hero of the movie goes through this tough time, and he or she is down, and then they don't know what they're going to do, and all of a sudden, when the clouds part and the angels go, ah, and the person rises up and the music swells, and all of a sudden, all is well again, and everybody's clapping the person on the back.
Mm,
Well, that happens, and then life happens again
mm,
and you get knocked down back into the ashes. And I always say, when people say, "Oh, Steve, you're rising like a phoenix out of the ashes," and I'm like, hang on. you know,
mm,
my phoenix rides a pogo stick, up, down, up, down, up,
mm.
down. I have fallen back in the ashes more times than I have fingers and toes. And I
Yeah.
burn my tail feathers off every time. But, the cool part about them is tail feathers grow back when you
Mm,
learn stuff and when you pick yourself back up. And every time they do, the colors are a little brighter and you can fly a little higher. So
mm,
I love that my Phoenix rides a pogo stick because even
mm,
now I'm learning so much about myself, about what love is really all about, which my wife Tina and I had just the most amazing
mm,
love.
mm,
But now I get to tell our story to share and help other people so that they can appreciate and become the best versions of themselves in their relationships.
mm. No, that's a lovely story to hear that you've taken something that's, the love of your life that's you've lost and now turning that into helping other people. But I love that analogy of the pogo stick up and down, and I believe a lot of our listeners would relate to that. I know when you were saying that, I'm thinking, yeah, life isn't just one smooth line. It's up, it's down, and you've got to learn your lessons along the way. So,
Yeah.
just on that, what's been one of the most defining lessons of from your one of your highs or lows along the way?
One of the lows that actually led to everything that I've enjoyed over the past 20 years was in the early 2000s. After fulfilling that dream of being on the radio and being a DJ,
Mm,
I worked about 15 years worth of hours in 10 and burnt myself into the ground. I
mm,
was exhausted. I was married. I had a first marriage, and that was crumbling all around me because I was just so isolated and frustrated and not communicating well. So in the early 2000s, I made one very quick decision without really thinking much. I walked away from my 10-year radio career, which led to my first marriage ending, which led
mhm,
to me moving back in with family in my early 30s, tens of thousands of dollars in debt.
mm.
And just my self-talk was so brutal back then. I mean, if I spoke to somebody else the way I spoke to myself, I would get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But I was brutal to myself. And on a very hot and humid August day in 2003, I drove past a mini golf place that had a driving range so you could just hit a bucket of golf balls and take out your frustrations. So for $3, I spent an hour hitting that bucket of golf balls, just exercising all my demons and self-loathing. And a thunderstorm came through.
Yeah.
And I was underneath these big steel-towered power lines because I was way at the far end
Oh.
of the driving range because I didn't want to dent anyone's car because I'm not a good golfer. So for an hour, I hit my bucket and the buckets of two other gentlemen who had run from the storm and never came back in the thunder, in lightning, in rain, barefoot in the wet grass. And at one point held the club up and just swung it slowly and sarcastically and said, "Go ahead, I dare you to hit me."
Mm,
And I didn't. And then I got to my car. And when I opened the door, the rain stopped. And the first couple rays of sun started to come through the black clouds. You know, like after a storm, you see the rays of
yeah.
light. And I started laughing. I thought it was funny and looked up and said, "Well played." And then the next day I was talking to a brand new life coach on the phone and he said, "How was your week?" And I said, listen to this. And I told the story as funny, but really self-deprecating as I could make it. I told him the story of that hour. And when he stopped laughing, which is something a coach that's trying to help you shouldn't do when your life stinks, he
Mm.
said, "Have you ever thought of being a motivational speaker or a stand-up comedian? I think you'd be really good at both."
Well,
He
there
never
you go.
knew that those were my goals. We had never discussed that. And 2 weeks later, I was in my first comedy class. And a week after that, my first Toastmasters meeting. So, in that one moment of a low, when I was actually daring lightning to take me out, came a question that changed my life forever, that led to everything I've been enjoying ever since.
That's an amazing story. Yeah, to hear that your life coach didn't even know that they were your dreams, and it's interesting what the universe delivers in your lap at the times when you're feeling the most down. But I have to say that was cheap therapy, only spending $3 to hit a bucket of
I
balls.
know. I still, and actually, oh my gosh, that's a great way to refer to it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
cheap therapy.
yeah,
Yeah, and you got a bonus of two other buckets as well for free.
absolutely. I wish they had had security cameras at the time because, oh my gosh, my clients would love to see that video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would have been yeah, interesting to watch with the lightning and thunder around you when you swinging your golf club around. Yeah.
yeah.
So you've built your life work around helping people see, feel, and believe in their goals. Why
Mm.
is visualization so powerful?
Well, what I see a lot, what I've been seeing my entire life is right about at January 1st, New Year's, all these people say, "Oh, I got to do my New Year's resolutions." Okay.
Mhm.
I want to be happier. I want to be healthier. I want more money. And it's kind of, in the flavor world, that's vanilla. Is there anything
Yeah,
wrong with vanilla? No. But there's a lot of other flavors out there. And to me, it almost becomes a very weak exercise that people do that. So that's
yeah.
why I love to ask people, what do your goals look like? And they'll say, well, I want to be happier, healthier, and more money. I go, okay, but what does happier mean to you?
Mm.
Oh, well, I spend time with my family, or I travel more, or I do this. And I say, look at your face right now. Just by that little tiny bit of seeing what you really want it to look like, I said, you just kind of cracked the egg a little bit.
Mm.
So then I like to ask, after what do your goals look like? What do they feel like? What do they sound like? What do they smell like? What do they taste like? And then they start laughing because they're like, my goals have a smell. So I start saying, okay, tell me the story of what you want your life to be, even just 1 year from now. Oh, I want to do a date night twice a month with my husband or my wife. I go, great. Where are you going to go? Oh, we're going to go to the movies. Well, what's your favorite type of movie? Oh, we love this. What are your favorite snacks at the movie? Oh, we always get a popcorn and a soda, and we each pick out one candy. Great. Can you
Mm.
smell the popcorn? Can you smell the butter? Can you hear the sound of the movie? Can you feel the chairs?
Mm.
And that's what I work really hard to do with people is to bring in a big sensory description and feel a goal and not just
Mm.
dash off some bland thing like I want to be happier, healthier, and have more money to get a lot more detailed with their goals and to immerse themselves in the story. And
Mm.
when I see people come alive, just telling me that little story, I say, no, there you go. There's your
Mm.
top of the mountain right there. You're down in the parking lot by the picnic table and porta potties right now. It's not
Mm.
great. Let's start you climbing towards that.
Yeah. As you were speaking there, I was thinking it's virtually the virtual reality of your goals. That's what you want
Mm.
people to feel and see, but sense, but also bring that sensory of smell into it. Yeah, that's a really good way because I was actually smelling the popcorn when you were talking about it.
And I
Yeah.
love that. When I see
Yeah.
somebody, the light comes on in their eyes and they have this almost wonder about it,
Mm.
even if they don't know how to get there yet.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, I go, you just went there. In the virtual
Mm.
reality, excellent way to explain it. You just went there for a moment. Now let's
Yeah.
just figure out how to get there for real. And
Yeah.
that's a whole adventure in itself, which is a blast
Yeah.
to navigate with people.
So, further on that, for someone listening who feels stuck, how can they begin to use visualization in a more practical way?
Yeah. If you think of it like an old wooden roller coaster, I'm not sure if you like roller coasters at the amusement
Love
parks or
them.
not, but
Mm.
good. Sometimes people say they're scared. I say, well, we're going to do a virtual reality coaster right now. It's not real. You're not going to get scared.
Mm.
If you think about it, and I mean the old wooden ones, not the ones that go, super fast up
Mm.
the first hill, the ones that go click, 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 click. So you start down at the parking lot level, but any one of your goals is the top of the first hill. So you just need to start thinking small because we get so overwhelmed by our goals. What's one little step you could take today? Who's one person you could have a conversation with? What's one bit of knowledge that you could gain today? And
Mm.
in this age, oh my gosh, learning is at our fingertips. We can learn anything on YouTube alone.
Yeah.
What is one book you could read? And just think about it each day. What is one click, click, click? And the great part about that is too many people these days want instant success.
Mm.
But the problem is it's not just what you get, it's who you become along the way. That's a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I tell people. Look, your goal is not just getting your goal, it's becoming the person that's worthy of it, becoming the person that will appreciate it,
Mm.
and developing your muscles along the way. So, what is one little tiny step you could take today to get closer to that goal? And then tomorrow, what's one more? And I've got a hashtag that I use with a lot of my clients, and it was actually developed by a dear friend of mine, and it's hashtag click baby click because she said that one day after she achieved a goal. I said, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. How'd you do it? She goes, oh, I just woke up every day and went click baby click.
Mm. That's a good
And
catch line, that one.
you put them together. And what does it do? It helps you to hardwire better habits. It
Mm-hmm.
helps you to be consistent. It helps you to create momentum. It helps you to create confidence that so many people are lacking. And that's the method that I teach because that's how I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. And while you were talking there, what was coming to my head then it's about the journey, not the destination. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah, but I like that click, baby, click. Yeah, love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, what's one story of someone you've worked with that shows how powerful this practice can be? Can you share that with us?
Oh, most definitely. And I always go to this one person. She was in her company. She was somewhere in the 20s as far as her
Mm.
sales, as far as her ranking in the company. And I've worked with this company now for 17 years. And this was about 6 or 7 years ago. She came to me with this goal after an event. And she said, Steve, I've got a huge goal I've wanted to do for 10 years. I have no idea how to do it. She wanted to go on a safari in Africa
Mm-hmm.
on the plains of the Serengeti. She said, I love giraffes. They're my favorite animal in the world, and I would love to see some up close. And I want to go to Africa. I said, okay, how much is it going to cost? And she said, I have no idea. I said, okay. This week, click, call a travel agent and just
Mm.
see how much would a safari trip in Africa be, 2 weeks. And she came back and she said, $10,000. I said, okay, how long do you think it would take you to save that money? And she said, I have no idea. I said, well, go look at your income. And she was part of what she did was in-home parties and expos and things like that where
Yeah.
she would sell their products. And she said, okay. And she came back a week later and said, I think 2 years, if I can save an extra 5,000 a year on top of paying my bills, I can do that. I said, great.
Mm.
How are you going to track your progress? And she said, I don't know. Maybe my checkbook, I guess, or my bank account. So I said, all right, I want to try to come up with a way to track it because that's an important part to gauge your
Yeah.
momentum. So I thought Giraffica, she loves giraffes. I found a kid's coloring book that had a giraffe and it had 12 spots on it. So I said,
Mm.
okay, one for each year. So I wrote 500, 500, 500, 500, 500, and then her name and her then boyfriend's name in two of the spots. And I said, now every time you bank $500, I want you to color in a spot. So she did.
Mm.
In just over 2 years, she saved the $10,000. She tripled her income through that part time business. She was ranked number two in the company instead of somewhere in the 20s. In less than 2 years, she built her career and built her
Mm.
success and paid all of her bills and saved for Africa. And what she did every time she colored in a spot on the giraffe, she did a Facebook Live to her private community with all of her clients and team members. And they all celebrated her and they started to send her giraffe related items. She got giraffe
Oh.
jewelry, necklaces, earrings, a pen set with all the animals of Africa, and one was a giraffe. And all these people started to support her and cheer her on. And I created her hashtag. I thought Giraffe Africa, hashtag Giraffrica.
Yeah.
So she became known, she's still known as Giraffica Jen.
Oh.
And the pandemic got in the way. The trip has been canceled about 4 times,
Oh.
but she is still planning on going. I believe it's next summer that she's going to Africa.
I love that story, and I love the fact that she had the motivation to do something, but then she had the visualization to map her progress, which kept her motivation going and probably drove her more to work harder and earn more as well. So yeah, I just love that story, and I love that the community got around her and was so kind and motivated her like a little cheer squad and sent her all those beautiful gifts. It's a beautiful story of beautiful acts of kindness, but also that you can achieve things and really, if you track them, get you more motivated to get to your goal. And as you said, she's nearly there, but it's about the journey and look at that journey she's had and the love that she's had along the way. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, after the loss of your wife, you've spoken about the role of gratitude and kindness. How did those practices help you in your grief?
My family and I, about 12 years ago, I just made a decision one day. I said, I want to just be more conscious to commit more acts of kindness. So we did, starting
Mm.
in late 2012. And we created this mission. We call it Beach Bum Philanthropy. Beach Bum because it's laid
Mhm.
back, which is my my dream job is just being a beach bum because I learned how to surf a number of years ago, not well, in philanthropy. So laid back giving to just make it effortless to see opportunities to give.
Yeah.
And after Tina passed away, we were in London actually at the time when it happened. Were traveling for a concert in London, and unfortunately,
Hmm.
she passed away the day before the show. So I was there for 5 days alone before my sister flew over from America to be with me and to help. And I was just sitting there thinking, how could we honor Tina's wishes
Mm.
as far as a part of our mission of giving? And one of her favorite nonprofits here where we live is a place called Friends Emergency Housing. And they
Mm.
help single moms to get back on their feet and give them a safe place to be with their kids until such time they're able to get their own apartment. And I thought when they get their own apartment, they have scraped every dime they have together just to be able to pay rent. And they have no money for other things.
Mm.
So I thought, what if we gave them all the kitchen utensils they would need and cleaning products and personal care items and all of these things. And then I was sketching it out based on a conversation that our board meeting uh, prior to that. And I thought, we'll call it Tina's Buckets of Love. It'll be a mop
Mm.
bucket, a kitchen trash can, and a laundry basket, full to the top with everything.
Mm.
And I talked to my family, and they loved the idea. And I came home and reached out to the shelter, and I said, we want to do this. And they said, oh, amazing. We have two moms that are moving out in the next 2 weeks. So I went to what we have here called the dollar store, or Dollar Tree, which is just very affordable items.
Mm.
And for just under $200 each, we were able to fulfill that first Tina's Buckets of Love.
Mm.
And I wrote an article called Who Was That Tall Man Crying at the Dollar Tree? Oh, it was me.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out in the aisles of
Mm.
that store, just knowing Tina was there and how
Mm.
much she would have loved that. And I believe we've done 5 or 6 buckets of love so far. And
Mm.
my mom and my stepmom, who are best friends in the world, I've let them take over the shopping because they have so much fun with it. But I still get to deliver the items and occasionally I'll meet the moms who are receiving them and I get all emotional every time. And that's the biggest thing that helps to me to honor Tina's wishes and her
Mm.
memory is doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, and what a beautiful act to do for your past loved one, Tina. It's so kind, yet it's also so simple, but yet so life-changing for those young mothers and their young bubs as well. That's a beautiful legacy that you've done for your wife. So yeah, good on you.
Thank you.
So can you talk about the difference between choosing versus being pushed around by life, and how has that shaped your own journey?
It's easy to get pushed around by life, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
a pinball in an old pinball machine. I mean, you just keep bouncing off things,
Mm.
and it's kind of like being in a river in a raft or an inner tube, but without a paddle.
Mm.
You just kind of go with the flow, and there's nothing wrong inherently with that. But I don't want to go with the flow. I
Mm.
know what the top of my first roller coaster hill is. And too many people are on a merry-go-round instead, which they just kind of go in the same patterns all day long, every day, and there's nothing wrong with it. But
Yeah.
I want something more. I want to challenge myself. I want to grow. I want to experience. I want to breathe. I want to taste everything life has to offer.
Mm.
The merry-go-round is safer, but the roller coaster is a lot more fun for
Yeah.
me because when you've done all that work and you get over the top of the hill, get ready for a ride you couldn't stop if you tried.
Yeah.
You can scream, you can cry, you can be afraid, you can celebrate and cheer and put your fist in the air and say yes as you're looking down that big steep hill.
Mm.
But the momentum of that will carry you the whole rest of the way for a thrill ride most people will never even understand.
Yeah. So
And when you
for,
get to the end of it, you want to go again. And
yeah.
I'll never ride the merry-go-round again. No.
Yeah. No, I love the roller coaster myself. But furthermore, on that, you often remind people that how many moving parts life has 24/7.
Yeah.
How does it mean to start paying, or what does it mean, I should say, start paying attention to those parts more with more care?
Well, most people, in knowing that I'm the vision board guy, people send me pictures. Steve, I
Mm.
made a vision board. Send me the picture. And I see it. And now you've seen this, I bet, like I've seen this. What's on it? A Lamborghini, a yacht, a mansion, a private jet, a supermodel, or a big hunky dude, a big expensive watch, and a big pile of cash or bars of gold in their basement.
Mm.
It's a beautiful little letter to Santa Claus. And there's nothing wrong with material things. But
Yeah.
something I learned the hard way is to understand that life is made up of so many different areas and they're all working together. And I use a life wheel, which is a pretty standard tool in personal development. And I've tweaked it to the way I teach things. It involves your physical health, your emotional well being. Imagine that, setting a
Mm.
goal for the emotions you want to feel,
Yeah.
your closest relationships, your core values that guide all of your thoughts, your words, and your actions. It's kind of like your internal moral code.
Mm.
Your faith, if that's an important part of your life, which does pretty much the same, except the authority comes from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Your connection to the world in real ways. And that took a beating during the pandemic.
Mm.
Loss of confidence, isolation, loneliness, depression, addiction, all of those things. And then your job and your money. So all eight of those areas are working together 24/7, whether or not you're paying
Mm.
attention. So wouldn't it be a good idea to pay attention
Yeah.
to those things, especially your physical health, because that's the foundation of everything else that
Yep.
you can do. And if you just take care of your physical health, like if you just get a little more sleep at night, maybe work out and choose better food, you wake up with better energy and focus. When you do that, you can work more efficiently. When you work more efficiently, you can earn more money potentially. When you
Mm.
do that, you can buy back some time and freedom and spend quality time with the closest relationships. And when you live by your internal rules and your integrity and your faith, it means you don't have to look over your shoulder at how you treated everybody that day. When you
Yeah.
do that, you feel better emotions. When you feel better emotions and do it that way, you have better connection with people. Now, because you took care of your physical health, that just impacted all eight areas of your life.
Mm. Yeah. It's about
It's
that
not so
self-love.
tough. Yeah.
That self-love
Yeah.
for yourself so you can show up at your high self so you shine and others will shine around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you've developed a wheel on that, yeah, in your practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you encourage people to rebuild habits when life has knocked them down?
It goes back to the roller coaster. And I'll say, look,
Mm.
you were up here and now you got knocked back down to here again. Okay. How did you get there in the first place? Let's talk about that. And you mentioned gratitude earlier.
Mm.
That's such a big part of it.
Yeah.
Where I would just reach out to people and say, what was your favorite conversation you got to have with someone today? What was your favorite moment of the day? Don't just say, well, it was an okay day. Did you get up and see the sunrise? Yeah. How many
Mm.
colors were in the sky? Oh, it was orange and purple today. It was gorgeous.
Mm.
All right. That's what you're grateful for today. You're grateful that you woke up and you saw a sunrise and it gave you hope and it made you smile. Or you got to, a lot of times I'll say, I got to hold the door for someone today.
Mm.
And they smiled at me and I smiled at them and wished them a good day. And then I saw three or four more people coming. So I stood there even longer. And the fourth one said, hey, I'll get that for you. And I go, no, one, two, three, four, six more people. And I can put out a tip jar. Keep moving. And they laughed and I laughed. And I get grateful for all these little moments. And then, of course, people say, Steve, your wife passed away. What could you possibly be grateful for on that day? Because it's not all just good, happy stuff.
No.
I said, you know what? I'm grateful that when I found her, she had heart disease. So she'd had a heart episode. While I
Mm.
was out of our hotel room, I was down in the gym and I came back up and I found her. I said, you know what I'm grateful for? She still had a pulse when I found her and that she passed while I was holding her in my arms. And myself and a hotel employee were doing our best to resuscitate her. So I'm grateful
Mm.
that her heart was beating. And when it stopped, I was holding her and saying, I love you.
Mm.
Even on those toughest days, I believe gratitude and getting back to those good habits of noticing moments that
Mm,
you appreciate.
yeah.
That's what helps people get back on track.
Mm. And it's usually those little moments, those
Yeah.
little things in life is where you get the most gratitude and connection with people. Yeah, you're so right in that space. So, Steve, what do you hope listeners walk away believing about themselves after hearing your story?
I want them to believe that that person in their mirror is their friend
Mm-hmm.
and that person loves them and they love that person. I start most mornings, I look in the mirror when I first get up. Now, my bathroom lights are bright and it's early when I get up to work out. So I've got one eye partially open and I go, I love you because you're
Mm-hmm.
a good dude. And by then I'm already smiling. My eyes aren't even 100% open. I'm already smiling. So start in your mirror every day. And
Mm.
an exercise that I do with all my clients, it's called the 7-day test. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll encourage them. I said, put a little sheet of paper and a pen in your bathroom and write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And every morning when you get up, I want you to start at the top of your head and just keep looking downward. And when you see something about yourself that you think is interesting or cool or quirky or something you like or something you even love, one per day, I want you to write it down.
Okay.
And I'll say to them, I said, look, the first day is going to be the toughest, so I'm going to help you. If you look, start at the top of your head and get all the way down to your feet and look down and go, well, heck, at least if my socks match, write that down that day. But you can't do the socks thing again. You got to do 7 more. The greatest things I've ever heard is around day 3 or 4, someone will reach out and go, Steve, I have cute dimples when I smile. And then when I smile, I have
Um,
dimples. And then I smile again. So I'm smiling more.
yeah.
Love that. Or I have really cool eyes or something about themselves that they appreciate that they've never even thought was an asset before.
Mm.
That's what I love is just find something about yourself that you're good at or that's cool about you. And don't see it as an ego trip, seeing it as a
Yeah.
brick in a foundation that's going to hold you up through some storms.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, what you've shared there. I think I might try that. That's so simple, just to stop and have some time and space for yourself and really get to know you and
Yeah.
yeah, like the things about you. Yeah, that's so simple but so effective, I can imagine.
Mm.
So, Steve, do you have a mantra or a phrase that you live by?
I do. And it actually comes from observing one of my grandfathers, who was a very
Hmm.
simple man, a wonderful family man, loving man, a very simple. I used to call him my cute little old man. And I got to observe him for so much of my life. He passed away in 2009. And he had this amazing ability, although he never verbalized it, he just lived it. Leave as many situations a day as you can better than you find them.
Mm.
Meaning, wherever you are, just look around and say, how can I leave this better than I find it? It may be picking up a little piece of trash from the sidewalk in front of a store that you're going into,
Mm.
or rescuing a shopping cart or carriage or trolley or wherever you live, whatever you call them, that somebody has left somewhere in a parking lot without getting upset that somebody left it because you don't know their situation.
Mm.
But just look around for an opportunity to leave a situation better than you find it. If you're going into somewhere and you look over your shoulder and somebody's 20, 30 feet away, stand there and hold the door and smile and say, hey, I hope you have a great day.
Mm.
Without expectation of a thank you or anything. Just ask yourself, how can I leave this situation a little better than I found it? And then do it and move on to the next one. And it is so addictive in the most
Mm.
beautiful way possible. I
Yeah.
love it. As soon as I get out of the car at the store, and this used to drive Tina crazy, and she goes, I'll meet you inside. You're going to go rescue a shopping cart. I'll say, well, if the wheels don't
Ah,
wobble, it's going to be ours. But if they do, I'm putting it back, in the corral where it belongs. But
ah.
yeah, it becomes a way of life, and it's one of the greatest habits I've developed, inspired by my grandfather.
Yeah, and it's a real unconditional act of kindness, isn't it? You know, you do it without any expectations, and yeah, that little thing can ripple across, a community, if not the world. Yeah. So, Steve, where can listeners connect with you and join your programs or hear more about your storytelling?
You can find me on social media. I'm very active there. Sometimes I'm there too much on Facebook, and also on LinkedIn under my name, Steve Gamlin, which is Gamlin, and online at stevegamlinspeaker.com. And we actually have a brand new website that's going to be launching very soon, but it will also be at stevegamlinspeaker.com.
hmm Well, I'm sure our listeners will be looking you up for sure. So, if someone listening today feels like that they've lost too much to dream again, what's one thing you'd want them to know?
Go back to not just what you get, but who you become. Think of that mindset. How can you create a
Mm,
happier, healthier version of yourself? Because, boy, when you're sitting in those ashes and your tail feathers are gone and your buns are a little toasty, it can be
mm,
tough to get back up and fly again. So
mm,
think of the best version of you that has enjoyed those higher highs. And even if you're not back at that height yet achieving, how can you tap back into that person? And my favorite phrase for that comes from a little dog that Tina and her mom had adopted. He was a rescue, and his
mhm,
name was Super Teddy. And
mm,
I loved this little guy. I made him famous. He wrote his own. He wrote his own book. I did all the work. He was just the cute one. And the very first one was wake up every day and wag yourself happy. I
mm,
mean, if dogs see their owner or they see something that makes them happy, they start wagging, and they just do. Their tails just start wagging. They're just
yeah.
joyful in a moment. So when you wake up in the morning, if your faith is important to you, read something from whatever book is your book of faith.
Mm,
If you love to laugh first thing in the morning, go on YouTube and find a video that makes you smile. If you love music like I do, I get up first thing in the morning, I turn on Sirius XM app on my phone, and I find a song that I just love. And even at 5:05 a.m. when I'm waking up in the dark to work out, I'm already rocking.
yeah.
So wake up every day and wag yourself happy. If you're in a relationship, go hug or give a kiss to that person you love the most and just wrap your arms around them and say, "You know what? I'm so happy I get to wake up to you."
Mm, I
And
love
they may
that.
get annoyed and laugh at you and say, "Not till I have had my coffee."
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Wake up every day and wag yourself happy on
Mm,
purpose with purpose. And don't just get up and watch the news. Oh my gosh, that's a
yeah.
guaranteed negative right
No.
there.
Yeah. No, I'm going to take that one. I'm a dog lover, so I love that saying, wag yourself happy. So I'll take that one.
Yeah,
Thank you, Steve.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
and thank you for sharing your heart, your humor, and your story with us today. You've reminded us that even when life feels heavy, there's always space for gratitude, always power in kindness, and always possibility when you choose to see it. So thank you for sharing your story with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. I enjoyed this. I'm going to give you my one word compliment that is the highest praise. It was effortless to
Ah,
share this conversation with you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
I'm so wonderful to hear that, and I'm sure our listeners will be enjoying your story as well. And just on that, to everyone listening, your next chapter doesn't have to look like your last. Start where you are, imagine what's possible, and take one step at a time. This is Nicki Dennis with Positive Vibes. Until next time, keep choosing kindness, keep choosing gratitude, and keep choosing joy. Sending you all love and positive vibes. Bye for now.